Be welcome to a new video where, as usual, I just went over all of these markets and I'm going to tell you which ones I'm going to be most interested on taking a trade. What a week that we just had, a bit different, and I don't know, I don't even know what to say. I did not like the way the market closed. I actually do not have a pair of the week or like top pairs. I just have a bunch of pairs that I'm gonna be watching throughout the week to see what the market is gonna do when it opens, and I'm gonna be waiting for the first daily candlestick on every single one of them before taking any trades. I'm actually gonna be very conservative on this week, unless on Monday, Tuesday, everything just give us nice setups and starts acting accordingly. But let's go one by one. There's a storm outside of my house going on, so excuse me if you are listening to that. But let's get started. AUDJPY, we are bearish on the week, still bearish on the week. Daily, we are bullish. We had this massive week. I did not enter on this trade, although we do had a good opportunity. I think I entered on USDJPY. I told you guys last week that I was most interested on taking a buy on AUDJPY than on USDJPY. I'm sorry, than on AUDJPY. However, I told you guys that if AUDJPY was gonna go up, probably USDJPY as well, or the other way around. But you know what I mean. So for this week, price was going to the upside, and then out of nowhere we started going to the downside, and we created some bearish momentum and some bearish structure that on Thursday night we ended up shifting to the we ended up shifting bullish, and now it looks like we are having a little bit of a pullback. Now on the daily, we ended up with this massive week EMA, but I like that we are still on the last previous structure point. It looks like we had a massive rejection of that, plus a support and resistance area, EMA, and psychological number. If you go to the 4-hour, it looks kind of like the same. I mean, we shift bullish. This was actually, and I think this is a great opportunity to buy, but I will not take that risk, especially with such a massive candlestick on the 4-hour and such a wick on the daily. I want to wait what happens on the next daily candlestick before that. On the 4-hour, we do have the EMA. I would love to see the EMA come a little bit below the psychological number in order to have a better setup. However, I think this is the most clear one of every single one of, this is the most clear setup out of all the setups that we are gonna be watching or going over. I do not like that price is struggling so much to break this bearish structure. Not the biggest fan of that on the weekly, but on the daily, I do like that we are respecting the zone, although we had this massive week. USDJPY, I don't want to spend too much time on this one's, on every single one of the pairs this week, because a lot of volatility, and I don't even know what's gonna happen the next week. I'm gonna be sharing some of my psychology at the end of this video, because I think this is more of a moment of mental analysis more than technical analysis, if that makes sense. Okay, here's the JPY. As you can see on the weekly, we are still bearish. I told you guys, I think we're gonna keep going to the upside. On the daily, you guys could see that we shift. It looks like we did body close on top of this previous higher high, but barely. So I want to ignore that for the sake of my mental health and this example. But we did close on top of it, so that's something to keep in mind too. That's why I'm trying to it's weird because I usually trade USDJPY, but I'm trying to stay away from this, at least for the next days or maybe the next week. 4-hour, as you can see, I'm going to break down all the trades that I took this week on USDJPY. As you can see on the first one, I told you guys that this was basically going to happen. We were going to have a rejection of this last previous structure point, EMA, psychological number, and support and resistance zone. We did have the rejection. If we go to the 1 hour, as you can see, we were bullish, then we went bearish, and at some point we shifted bullish and had a rejection of the last previous structure point. This happened at 9:10 a.m. and this is when I took my trade. I put my stop loss under the higher low and my take profit on the next support and resistance zone, so you guys can see. As we did before, to be honest, I was trying to take the same trade that we took before, although I think here I closed my trade early. But as you can see here on what happened this week, everything was going pretty smooth, pretty well. We were respecting this zone that I've talked about many times, and that it has been very well respected when we're going to the upside and when we're going to the downside. This was even another opportunity to take a trade on this week. I think the same movement we had before, here is a very good example. And well, here we didn't have a wick, we have a body close, but it is basically the same movement. However, on this week, I don't know if it was the news, I wasn't paying attention of any news or CPIs or anything like that, but I was pretty confident this was going to be a good trade and it was going to hit take profit. And out of nowhere, on New York session, we had this massive candlestick. I did not close my trade on break even, neither on any other place than on my stop loss. It was kind of painful to see that. Probably when I saw that we were we shift the structure and we were going to the downside from this level, maybe that was the best moment to close my trade, or what I should have done, but I don't usually close my trades early. So I just let the trade go to stop loss, and I see that we keep going to the downside now. I don't know if I was revenge trading or not, or how much this was making sense, but we were under the zone. So I'm like, okay, we're not buying, now we're under the zone, we are selling. So I was looking for something, and I found that in London session we had this lower low, last previous structure point, we had this wick rejection, so I put my stop loss on top of this wick. I waited for this next candlestick to close, I think, or I'm not really sure, but after this one closed, I think I took the trade stop loss on top of my area, or well, at the start, at the top of my area, yes, and take profit at the next support and resistance level all the way down here. Maybe I should have used this one, but I think I only used this one as an example last week, not really throughout the other occasions that we have traded this pair. Now, I was pretty, and then as soon as I saw that my trade was going shift the structure to bullish, I closed my trade. I don't know. I was kind of on my, I wouldn't say on my feelings, but I was just like, I'm not taking another loss. So I basically closed my trade here. Then it kept going to the downside. I was like, there's no way. And at the end of the day, it kept going to the upside. So it would have been an L. However, I was let's say I bought a candlestick close. I had a 2.5 trade here, and I closed early, but I think it's fine for me because I would have not take this trade on other occasions. As you can see on the 4 hour, we didn't have anything. It was just me trying to take a revenge trade, I think. However, we ended up closing USD JPY. On the daily, it doesn't look like there's much, but on the 4 hour, we shift the structure to bullish, then pull back to the EMA, and that's where we are at right now. For me to take this trade, I think I might take a trade only up here unless there's some clear transaction price action. I mean, this is very clear, not gonna lie. Reaction of the EMA, but it's the 1 hour, so let's see, 4 hour. I don't know, I'm confused, so I'm gonna stay away from this trade. That's all I can say. Unless price gives me a good setup here. If not, then I'm not interested. Maybe I'll be more interested on AUDJPY. I think that makes much more sense. Next one is gonna be your GBP. I told you guys that I was expecting for price to break through this support and resistance area. It happened, but we did not even create a wick. This was just going up non-stop. We did not get a good entry here for me. And at the end of the day, the only place that you could be taking an entry was on this wick. And I wanted to have some more confirmation. Also, if we go to the 1 hour, you can see that we shift bearish. So it did not make it for me. And then you can see what happened. What am I waiting for this week? This one can be actually a very good trade, to be honest. Better than any of these. No BS. Bold pull back to the zone, EMA, psychological number, last previous structure point, rejection, and then a buy. That's all I'm waiting for this one. And the next ones, I'm gonna go through them really quick because most of them are, at least for me, I don't know, just the market had a lot of volatility, a lot of big movements, and they're there. But that doesn't mean next week it's gonna be like that. I don't know. GBP USD, this was another L that I took at the same time with USD I kind of talked about this pair the last week. I told you guys this was a very good support and resistance zone. However, I think the trade that I took two trades. One here and the other one is this one. I took them at the same time though. It's just the stop loss and the take profit. Let's go to the 1 hour so I can break them down really quick. Big movement to the downside. Last previous structure point, I see that we have a support and resistance zone on the 1 hour. EMA, I didn't wait for price to close actually. That was my fault. Now, it happened what I think it was going to happen. I think I predicted a good movement, but I wasn't expecting the news or whatever happened here to happen. And I could have closed my trade on break even or earlier or even at any point on profits, but I did not. I didn't want to close my trade. And it ended up going to stop loss. I think this was a very nice trade. Just look at, actually, if I can learn something from this trade right now, and I can tell you, first, I should have waited for the price or the candlestick to close here. Second, I should have put my take profit where this candlestick closed, and it was a 3.86 trade, risk to reward ratio trade. I'll take that one in note for the next time. Wow, I did not think about that when I was analyzing this pair. I mean, 4 hour, as you can see, bearish movement, and now it looks like, I mean, if this was our previous higher low, we shift structure, then this is our last previous structure point. It looks like we had a rejection of that, and we are ready to go to the downside. I do not like that the EMA, it's that we are on top of the EMA, and on the daily we are bullish, so I'm gonna stay away from that. Maybe I would love to take the same trade again, but I don't even know at this moment. My psychology is all around the place, so I just want to see what the price, what the market is gonna give me next week, and not try to predict too much, to be honest. GBP and CD, just to give some other pairs that I found throughout my analysis. As you can see, we shift to the bearish, and we're bearish, and we had a projection of this support and resistance level. Although, yeah, that happened, and we were going to the downside until Friday that we shift structure to the upside, and it caught my attention that I have here my EMA, so I could be expecting a pullback to then buy. 4 hour, this just looked like the place to put my entry. Support, kind of a support and resistance zone. I mean, if you want to call it like that, I think it's valid though. It's on the 4 hour, and maybe this was a good point to enter. I do not wish to enter all the way up here, but I'm just gonna wait. I would love to see a candlestick where, like, to the downside closing here. Maybe a wick rejecting the EMA, rejection of the last previous structure point, to then keep going to the upside. Next one, NCD CAD. Let's see. We're bullish. On the weekly, I don't have much to say, to be honest. And on the daily, we had a lot of structure here, and we had a massive wick to the downside. Pullback, rejection of the EMA, zone, and to then sell, maybe. Let's see the 4 hour. The 4 hour does look kind of clear. I mean, the EMA is all the way on top, but if there was a place to sell, maybe it was here. If it didn't happen here, I'll see what happens. I'm just gonna be watching this. I don't have much to say because I don't want to make things up out of nowhere. For me, like, if I have to be honest, I'm gonna be checking these two, but maybe these are the only two pairs that I'm actually willing to put a trade. USD JPY is always gonna be there, but for now, NCD CAD, I'm gonna be watching. Euro AUD, as you can see, we are bullish on the weekly. Last rejection point rejection, kind of maybe this week. And if we go to the daily, I do like this support and resistance zone that we just broke through. But I would have loved to see a rejection of this one to then pull back and buy. I am waiting for that. If anything, if we go to the 4 hour, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure if price can manage to come all the way down here, create a pullback to then rejection of the last previous structure point and EMA. Maybe if the 4 hour shift, goes bearish and shift bullish, or if not, then maybe the 1 hour. But the EMA is all the way up here. So I don't even know. I don't know if the euro is going to keep going up. It went up on basically, the euro just went up. And next one, AUDCHF. Weekly, bearish, daily, bearish. Pullback to the sell, maybe. This was our high, high, low. Now we shift bearish, rejection, pullback, rejection to the sell, maybe. 4 hour, if anything, this is the point to enter, but I don't know if it's too late or what the price is gonna do. Just wait for Monday daily candlestick to close, and let's see how the 4 hour and the 1 hour looks for the next sections throughout the week. That's basically everything for this video. I'm just gonna be watching all of them. I think I'm gonna stay back a little. I had a little bit of a frustrating week in the market, and I was just not expecting, I felt like really good because the trades were playing out, USD JPY, GBP USD, and out of nowhere, boom, on Wednesday, I think, the market just decides to turn around and go to the opposite direction. It is the market. You cannot say I wouldn't put like it is fine, it is not fine. Like, it is what it is. That's what I try to think about, and just try to keep my calm. And I know my job as a trader is keep being in the charts, keep experiencing the market, and that's it. That's what I'm trying to focus on, because if I focus on trying to make sense to this, I'm just gonna go crazy. And I advise you to do the same. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll make a video throughout the week, maybe giving some updates if I see some good setups. But hey, it's time to be brave, and maybe I'm gonna lay down a little bit throughout this week. I hope you guys can find some good information or just some good knowledge on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.